This is the LZR Project, an episodic story series by David N. Alderman. The LZR Project takes place within David's Expired Reality universe and serves as a prequel to the main novels in his Expired Reality series. You can find out more about David's Expired Reality series at davidnalderman.com. Episode number 11. When the ambulance sirens died out and the dead had been carried away from Warehouse 5.5, the industrial district fell into an eerie silence. The evening had brought bloodshed to Lysalis. 7 of Lysalis's finest police officers had died, and a brash woman by the name of Shaona Riche had escaped both the Lazerblades and the police. Mr. Big had not been in the warehouse at the time of the attack, but that was a fact that did little to surprise Cybil Corbin. After confirming the area was clear of police, her brother, his friends, and anyone else who might spot her trespass, Cybil stepped out of the darkness and into the light spilling out of the small bulb above the side entrance to the warehouse. Police tape covered the door, but that didn't stop her from ripping it off and using a heavy crowbar to pry the lock to pieces. She would have brought some of the nifty gadgets she had acquired from her contact, Squirrel, but she didn't want to be burdened by anything aside from her costume, which she was quickly realizing was very poorly made. The black spandex had already begun tearing in some areas, forcing Cybil to take great care in how she moved and how she carefully put on the costume. Her faith in her friend Rachel's sewing skills to be specific, had disintegrated quite quickly. To be fair, I've had a few adventures already, Cybil told herself. But still, the costume should be able to hold up for at least a good year or so. The convenience store robbery I put a stop to the other day took a bit out of the costume. I think I'll give Rachel a call later and chew her out a bit. The parts of her costume that were still intact overheated her body, and the torn gaps left her to freeze whenever a chilly night breeze came by. She would have to find another means of disguising herself soon, but the costume would do for her clandestine mission this evening, especially since the mask was still in good shape. Once inside the warehouse, the smell of gunpowder and machine oil filled her nostrils. She set the crowbar against a pile of empty pallets, feeling somewhat exposed and vulnerable without a weapon of some kind. Her brother, David, had his boomerang, but Cybil had nothing. Not yet, anyway. Most of the warehouse had been cleared out, most everything taken in as evidence. Drugs, illegal shipments, black market guns. Cybil hoped, though, that she could get her hands on one piece of evidence linking Sean Amaru to Mr. Big. If she could find such proof, without breaking into police evidence, she could use it to elevate herself above her brother. That was her only goal now. It was the very thing that consumed her whole being. She had grown tired, very tired, of David's success and the bright spotlight that constantly shone on him from everywhere in the city. She glanced around the dark warehouse, the blue moon piercing the skylight overhead, washing the cavernous space in a cobalt hue. Confident the warehouse was vacant of other life forms, Cybil moved through the space to the small office tucked into the corner of the building. The police had left the small desk lamp on inside the office, making it easy to find her way inside. She went straight to a filing cabinet which had been pillaged by the police, and possibly even the Lazerblades. To her right, Cybil found a small journal on the desk among piles of miscellaneous paperwork. She flipped the small leather-bound book open, and after careful observation, realized it was filled with lists of Mr. Big's associates, with dates when he made contact with each of them. Pages were torn out of the book. Lots of pages. Strange that the police didn't take the whole book, she thought. If there's a page with Sean's name on it, it'll be my golden ticket. To her dismay, Sean's name was nowhere to be found on the remaining pages of the journal. Cybil began searching the rest of the office in hopes of another glimmer of hope. "Who are you?" Cybil swung around and leapt backwards, slamming into the filing cabinet as it nearly toppled to the floor. "What?" David Corbin stood in the office, boomerang drawn, anger written on his face, like the graffiti so often found plaguing the very flesh of Lysalis herself. "I expect you to answer the question." Cybil stood tall and cleared her throat before standing against her brother. "I don't have to tell you that." For a long stretch, David said nothing. She watched his grip tighten on the boomerang. She had seen him use it before, and she knew if he wanted to, he could hurt her, even kill her with it. He wouldn't, though. She knew his policy on killing. She knew his feelings towards violence. She knew him because he was her brother. They were both alike, she and him, connected by blood and time and history. and yet they were different and opposing forces. "Tell me who you are," David said, "or I'm going to turn you over to the police." "I haven't done anything wrong," she lied. "You're trespassing in a crime scene." "So are you," she retorted. "I'm here on behalf of the LZR Project. What are you doing here?" Cybil shrugged, unsure of what her next move would be. She wanted to flee, but David was blocking the door that led out of the office. David took a few steps toward her, relaxing his grip on the boomerang. "You're the first costumed freak I've seen running around Lysalis. I'm not a freak, and what I'm wearing is better than your bland outfit." "Why do you wear a costume? And a beat-up one at that?" "To protect my identity," she answered. "Really?" he asked. "Really," she replied. David slid the boomerang into his back pocket and crossed his arms over his chest. "You're the one who foiled the convenience store robbery the other day, aren't you?" Cybil's chest swelled with incredible pride. "I am. That was me." "You know about the security guard who was shot in your attempt to apprehend the shooters?" Cybil answered him confidently. "Yes, because of me the people in that store were saved." "Is that how you see it?" he asked. "How else would you see it? The guard who was shot is dead." "No," she corrected. "He was shot in the arm. He went to a hospital. I checked up on him yesterday." "He's dead. If you had half the sense you claim to have, you would know that. Cardiac arrest this morning." "Look, you arrogant—" "I know he's not dead. I just saw him yesterday. Clean your ears out. And why are you focusing so much on the security guard when I saved a half-dozen people in that convenience store?" "I can tell you're new at this hero thing because you don't know how to see the bigger picture," David said. "You see, the gunman wasn't guaranteed to shoot anyone in that store. The clerk was going to give the gunman the 36 credits and change that was in the register, and the gunman was going to be on his way. The security guard would have lived to see his daughter turn 4. Instead, you came in ranting about how the gunman needed to put the gun down and face the wrath of—" David cupped his hand over his ear. "What was your stupid name again?" "My name is Persimmon," she answered. "The fruit?" he asked. She nodded. "Persimmon. Your speech caused the gunman to fire on the security guard you led into that store." "I found him around the corner," she said. "I led him to where the gunman was. Why are you busting my boobs about it?" David smirked. "I'm going to warn you once. Hang up your kitty costume and get back to whatever life you were living before you decided to get people killed with your childish antics. How dare you try and tell me what to do? Who do you think you are? You think you know me? You think you know my likes and my dislikes and who I'm dating and who my family is? You know nothing. Do you even know why I'm here, asswipe? I'm here to prove to you that a member of your team has turned traitor on you. One of your own doesn't care for your leadership skills, however qualified you seem to think you are." David reached into the inside pocket of his black leather jacket and pulled out a slip of torn paper, the same color as the paper in the journal on the desk. He held it up so Cybil could see what it was. "I know." "What?" she asked. "I don't know who you really are, Persimmon, but if you try and blackmail me or cross me or whatever you're trying to do to me again, I'll make sure you go behind bars for a very long time. An action you would quickly regret," she said. "Threats don't work on me. As I don't know your background, you know nothing of mine. You don't know the demons that lurk in the streets, the ones I fight and the ones I follow to bigger demons. So don't begin to try and figure me out." "I was going to help you with the information, David, not hurt you." "No, you weren't. You were going to use it against me. You were going to satiate your own ego to try and trump my status here in Lysalis. I don't know why. As far as I know, we've never met before this. But as I said before, if you cross me again, you'll regret it." "Sean is working with Mr. Big," Cybil said. "Get that through your fat head. It's my problem, not yours. It's this whole city's problem if you can't get your head out of your ass and stand up to the people who are walking all over you. What are you, some kind of big dumb welcome mat? You get kicked in the nuts and you cower in fear? You get yelled at by girlfriends and friends and you back down like a whipped puppy? Wake up, David, or all of us will be in trouble." David put the paper into his pocket and left the office. Once Cybil heard the warehouse door slam shut, signaling David's exit, she let out a long breath and leaned against the desk, her heart threatening to beat out of her chest. "I'll show you, David. I'll show you that you've been underestimating me this whole time." Thank you for listening to the LZR Project. If you are interested in reading more of David's Expired Reality series, please check out the author's webpage at davidnalderman.com.